Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter remains one of baseball's most iconic figures, yet his reputation often exceeds his measurable value. His 5 Gold Gloves are cited as proof of defensive mastery, but advanced metrics tell a different story. Defensive runs saved rated Jeter as below average almost every season, often in the negatives. His range factor lagged behind league peers, and his celebrated jump throws masked poor positioning. Offensively, Jeter collected over 3,400 hits, a remarkable feat of durability, but he was never an elite power or on-base producer compared to Alex Rodriguez or Nomar Garciaparra. His postseason heroics built his legend, yet his overall playoff numbers mirror his regular season averages. A true leader, yes, but statistically, a product of the Yankee spotlight that magnified every highlight into myth. Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly's story is wrapped in nostalgia, a Yankee captain caught between dynasties. His prime from 1984 to 1989 produced elite averages and an MVP, but his back injuries abruptly ended his dominance. His career OPS plus of 127 parallels Paul O'Neill. Yet Mattingly is remembered as a legend. Despite Gold Gloves at first base, the position offered limited defensive weight. He never led his team to a championship, and his career faded early. His fame endured not from overwhelming production, but from his persona as Donnie Baseball, a symbol of grit in lean Yankee years, more myth than sustained greatness. Nomar Garciaparra. Nomar Garciaparra's meteoric rise in the late 1990s promised Hall of Fame greatness, but injuries cut short his prime. He won Rookie of the Year in 1997 and back-to-back batting titles soon after. Yet his career unraveled quickly. His .361 on-base percentage and .521 slugging were strong, but not historic in the steroid era's inflated offense. After leaving Boston in 2004, he played only one full productive season. His glove rituals and offensive flair left lasting impressions, but his peak was brief, his decline swift. Nomar's legacy is one of brilliance undone, remembered more for what might have been than what was. Harold Baines. Harold Baines was a model of consistency, but his Hall of Fame induction in 2019 remains controversial. Over 22 seasons, he hit 289 with 384 home runs and 2866 hits, yet never once led the league in any major category. His career OPS plus of 121 suggests a solid hitter, not a dominant one. Spending most of his career as a designated hitter limited his overall impact. His Veterans Committee election featuring close allies sparked claims of favoritism. Reliable and respected? Yes. But his induction elevated steadiness into immortality, making Baines a clear case of a good player enshrined as great. Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson was a phenomenon, perhaps the greatest athlete baseball ever saw, but his legend overshadows his modest production. His arm strength and power were mythical, yet in 8 seasons, he hit just .250 with a .309 OBP and averaged 160 strikeouts per 162 games. His career WAR was under 10, showing flashes of brilliance rather than consistency. A devastating hip injury ended his 2-sport career prematurely. The Bo Knows marketing era built an image larger than life, but statistically, his contributions were fleeting. Jackson remains an icon of potential, not a model of sustained excellence. Carlos Beltran. Carlos Beltran's career blends longevity, versatility, and occasional dominance, but his reputation as an all-time great is inflated. With 435 home runs and over 300 steals, his balance was rare. Yet he never led the league in a major offensive category. His 2004 postseason surge cemented his clutch image, but his later years were marked by steady, not spectacular play. The 2017 Astros sign-stealing scandal tainted his leadership legacy. Though his 70 WAR suggests borderline Hall value, his inflated reputation as a flawless 5-tool star exceeds the quieter truth of a very good, not transcendent career. David Wright. David Wright symbolized the Mets' hopes through the 2000s, a talented, polished star undone by injuries. His 2005-2008 peak showcased near MVP offense and Gold Glove defense, but spinal stenosis shortened his career, finishing with 242 home runs and a .296 average. Wright was excellent in his prime, but lacked longevity. His consistency and leadership earned adoration, yet his numbers fall short of peers like Chipper Jones or Adrian Beltre. More beloved captain than enduring superstar, Wright's legacy rests on character and promise, making him one of baseball's most sympathetically overrated stars. Mark Teixeira. Mark Teixeira's switch-hitting power and defensive prowess earned him acclaim, but his career peaked quickly. After signing an 8-year, $180 million contract with the Yankees in 2009, he delivered one brilliant season leading the league in home runs and RBIs, then declined rapidly. His 126 OPS plus and 50 WAR place him below true first base elites. Injuries and age dulled his bat, and his batting average dropped below 250 in later years. While dependable and professional, Teixeira's legend inflated through New York's spotlight, casting a very good player as a perennial superstar. Giambi. Jason Giambi embodied the contradictions of his era's tremendous offensive skill, clouded by performance-enhancing drug. His Oakland years were dominant, but his later admission of steroid use tarnished his .916 OPS and .440 home run. His defense was poor, his base running slow, and his peak short-lived. His charisma and late career mentoring role softened public memory, but his numbers boosted by the steroid surge fall short of clean-era standards. Giambi's legacy is less about greatness and more about how power and scandal intertwine to create an overrated symbol of a flawed generation. Yoenis Cespedes. Yoenis Cespedes arrived as a sensation, blending raw power and arm strength into instant stardom. His 2015 run with the Mets made him a postseason hero, but his career lacked durability, just 834 games in 8 seasons. With the 273 average and .820 OPS, his numbers were good, not elite. Off-field eccentricities and injuries, including a bizarre wild boar accident, overshadowed consistency. The Mets' $110 million investment quickly soured as Cespedes faded from the field. A flash of brilliance rather than a foundation, his fame far outstripped his sustained production. Hosmer. Eric Hosmer's leadership and 2015 World Series heroics with Kansas City built his reputation as a cornerstone star, yet his numbers tell a humbler story. A career OPS plus of 108 and limited power output reveal a player only slightly above average offensively. His high ground ball rate and inconsistent defense undercut his Gold Glove accolades. An 8-year, $144 million deal with San Diego made him one of MLB's most overpaid players. Revered for intangibles, Hosmer was reliable but never dominant proof that narrative can outweigh production. Jacoby Ellsbury. Jacoby Ellsbury's 2011 season, where he hit .321 with 32 home runs, created the illusion of a superstar, but it proved an outlier. Known more for speed than slugging, Ellsbury's later years were marred by injuries and regression. His 7-year, $153 million Yankees deal became infamous as he missed his final seasons entirely. His 284 career average and modest power output fell short of expectations, and his defensive range declined. A player defined by one remarkable year and enduring hype, Ellsbury remains one of modern baseball's most overrated contracts. Strasburg. Steven Strasburg's debut in 2010 heralded the next great ace, but injuries made that promise fleeting. Tommy John surgery, recurring forearm issues, and nerve damage curtailed consistency. His 2019 postseason MVP was brilliant yet deceptive, as he pitched just 8 games afterward under a $245 million contract. A career 3.24 ERA and 1,723 strikeouts shine on paper, but reflect unrealized longevity. Strasburg's legend rests on hype and flashes of brilliance rather than sustained greatness, leaving him an icon of potential more than performance. Josh Hamilton. Josh Hamilton's comeback from addiction made him an inspirational figure, but his career peak was brief. From 2008 to 2012, he had 5 All-Star appearances and a 2010 MVP. Yet his lack of plate discipline and declining defense shortened his relevance. His .290 average and 200 home runs belie an erratic trajectory. A $125 million deal with the Angels ended disastrously as injuries and relapse resurfaced. Hamilton's narrative of redemption amplified his fame, but statistically, he was a short-lived marvel, not a long-term great. B.J. Upton. Melvin Upton Jr. B.J. Upton's potential seemed limitless. A 5-tool prodigy with speed and power. His 2007 breakout and postseason heroics made him a star in waiting, yet inconsistency defined his career. With a .243 lifetime average and constant strikeouts, he never mastered the plate. His $75 million contract with Atlanta became a cautionary tale after he hit below 190 in his first season. Upton's athleticism was undeniable, but his lack of refinement turned hype into disappointment. A career remembered for promise, not production. Prince Fielder. Prince Fielder's power was legendary. 50 home runs in 2007, a constant middle-order threat, but his all-or-nothing style and poor defense limited his value. His 9-year, $214 million deal with Detroit quickly soured as production dipped and injuries mounted. A neck injury ended his career at 32, leaving him with 23.8 WAR, far below other big bats. Despite charisma and strength, Fielder's lack of versatility and brief peak made him one of the most overvalued sluggers of his era. Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard dominated for 5 seasons, crushing 58 home runs in 2006, but his skill set was narrow. His inability to handle left-handed pitching and high strikeout rate doomed him after age 30. His $125 million extension in 2010 preceded a steep decline. Defensively limited and slow, he posted a modest 14.7 WAR despite towering power numbers. Loved in Philadelphia, Howard's stardom was real but short. His myth sustained by nostalgia rather than sustained production. Matt Kemp. Matt Kemp's 2011 near MVP season was dazzling. 39 homers, 40 steals, but inconsistency and injuries defined the rest of his career. Defensive metrics rated him among the league's worst outfielders, and his bat declined after a shoulder injury. Despite over 280 home runs and multiple All-Star appearances, his career WAR under 30 shows underachievement for his talent level. Kemp's charisma and flashes of brilliance elevated him beyond his sustained results, embodying promise more than permanence. Troy Tulowitzki. Troy Tulowitzki's glove and bat made him a star in Colorado, but injuries ruined his momentum. He played more than 130 games only 3 times, finishing with a .290 average and .495 slugging percentage. His numbers were inflated by Coors Field, and his road OPS fell sharply. After moving to Toronto, his decline was steep and swift. A dynamic shortstop at his best, Tulowitzki's fragility turned a potential Hall career into a story of frustration, his legend larger than his legacy. Jason Heyward. Jason Heyward's debut homer in 2010 sparked massive hype, but his offensive development stalled. Though an elite defender and base runner, his career OPS plus hovered near league average. The Cubs' $184 million contract cemented his status as overpaid. Despite leadership and a famous World Series speech, he never became the power hitter projected from his rookie year. Heyward's defense was gold-worthy, his bat bronze. His legacy rests on intangibles more than tangible dominance. Rick Porcello. Rick Porcello's 2016 Cy Young Award distorted perception. His 22 wins impressed voters, but advanced metrics favored others. With a career 4.40 ERA and 1.31 WHIP, Porcello was steady but rarely exceptional. His WAR of 18.6 confirms a mid-tier innings eater rather than ace. His Cy Young year was an outlier in a career of average performance, magnified by Boston's market. Reliable? Yes, but his reputation was inflated by one perfect storm season. Jonathan Papelbon. Jonathan Papelbon's early dominance made him a Boston hero, but his volatile temperament and short prime limited his standing. His 2.33 ERA as Red Sox closer was elite, yet his later years were erratic. Post-2011, his velocity dipped, and his confrontations, notably with Bryce Harper, overshadowed his play. A 19.3 WAR is solid, but far below Rivera or Hoffman. Papelbon's bravado sustained his legend more than longevity, leaving him an overrated closer remembered for flair as much as fire. Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer's intellectual branding as baseball's scientist inflated his image. His 2020 Cy Young came in a 60-game season. Beyond that, his 3.79 career ERA and volatility tell a different story. Frequent disputes and off-field scandal derailed his career, and questions over foreign substance use shadowed his peak. His analytics-driven persona promised reinvention, yet inconsistency defined him. Bauer's hype outpaced his results, turning him into an example of brilliance eclipsed by controversy. Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's fame began before his debut, dubbed baseball's chosen one at 16. His MVPs validate elite talent, yet his career has swung between dominance and mediocrity. His .280 average and streaky production show inconsistency, and while his power and discipline shine, defense and health often lag. Harper's fiery style and marketing appeal keep him center stage, but his legacy remains more hype-driven than purely historic. Yasiel Puig. Yasiel Puig's rookie burst in 2013 electrified baseball, his speed, arm, and flair unmatched. Yet his immaturity and inconsistency undermined his trajectory. Over 7 seasons, he hit 277 with 132 home runs, never fulfilling MVP projections. His volatility off the field drove him out of the majors before age 30. Puig's impact was more cultural than statistical, a spectacle that burned fast, bright, and briefly. Aroldis Chapman. Aroldis Chapman's 105 mph fastball defined fear, yet his control and postseason failures undermined his legend. His 2.53 ERA and 1,000 strikeouts testify to dominance, but crucial meltdowns like 2016's Game 7 tarnished his aura. As his velocity waned, so did his edge. His domestic violence suspension further marred his legacy. Chapman's career remains a blend of awe and inconsistency, a flamethrower whose myth exceeded his mastery. Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa entered MLB as a prodigy and delivered steady defense and power, but never dominance. His .270 average and 129 OPS plus indicate quality, not greatness. Injuries and inconsistency mar his career, and the Astros' 2017 scandal tainted his achievements. His leadership image often surpasses his statistical impact. Correa's confidence and charisma frame him as elite, yet his numbers anchor him closer to a very good and overrated modern shortstop, defined by reputation. Fernando Tatis Jr. Fernando Tatis Jr. dazzles with charisma and power, but his brief career is already marred by suspension and injuries. His 2021 season was MVP-worthy, yet defensive errors and reckless play led to an outfield move. The 2022 PED ban damaged his credibility, and despite highlighting talent, his career WAR remains modest. Tatis is electric, marketable, and inconsistent, an unfinished story where hype still outpaces proof. Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani's two-way brilliance redefined baseball, yet his fame often exceeds his lasting impact. His injuries, including 2 major elbow issues, highlight the strain of his dual role. While his individual numbers are extraordinary, team success has eluded him. His legend is already monumental, but longevity will decide its legitimacy. For now, Ohtani's image, part miracle, part marketing, sits slightly above his still-evolving record. Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge's 62 home run season cemented him as a generational slugger, but his frequent injuries and streaky hitting temper the hype. He's played over 150 games only twice, and though his power is unmatched, his strikeout rate and inconsistent postseason results weigh on his legacy. As Yankee captain, he embodies modern baseball spectacle, dominant at times, fragile at others. Judge is great, yet the hero-making machine around him ensures his myth burns brighter than even his considerable achievements. Baseball's history is filled with legends, heroes, and myths, but greatness often looks different under the light of modern analysis. Many of these players became larger than life not purely through numbers, but through storylines, timing, and public perception. Markets like New York or Los Angeles can turn strong seasons into immortal legacies, while advanced statistics often reveal less glamorous truths. To call a player overrated is not to deny their skill, it's to separate aura from achievement. Each name on this list contributed to the game's rich narrative, inspiring fans and shaping eras. Yet, the true beauty of baseball lies in its constant reassessment, where numbers meet nostalgia and reality finally balances myth.